Here are 7 Fleetwood Mac songs inspired by real breakups. When we say breakups, we mean within the band. They didn't just sell a ton of records, they did it by sharing their dirty laundry with the world. 1. Go Your Own Way. This is where the whole glorious mess starts. Lindsey Buckingham had just split from Stevie Nicks, and instead of journaling about it privately like a reasonable adult, he walked into rehearsal and handed the band what would become their first major American single. He wrote it in a raw, unfiltered burst. Pure emotion hitting paper before his brain could censor it. The problem? One line in particular accused Nicks of behavior she found deeply unfair and humiliating. She has said publicly that every time those words were sung on stage, she was fighting the urge to confront him right there under the stage lights. Buckingham knew exactly what he was doing. That tension is baked into every single note of the song. Can you imagine working every day with your ex and then sharing your emotions on stage for the world? Number 2. Dreams. Not only was this a subtle answer to Buckingham's Go Your Own Way, but Nicks wrote this in such a cool, calm, almost eerie way in her composure. She wrote it quickly, sitting at a Fender Rhodes piano in the studio, and what came out was a meditation on loss that somehow felt more devastating than any direct attack could have. The song became Fleetwood Mac's only #1 single, and has since crossed 2 billion streams. Proof that a woman processing heartbreak with dignity connects with people across generations in a way that rage simply cannot. In your opinion so far, are you Team Buckingham or Team Nicks? Number 3. Silver Springs. Did you know this song was pulled from the Rumors album at the last minute? Such a well-written song and theme behind it. If you're wondering about the origin of the song, you can go back to the relationship between Buckingham and Nicks. That rejection of the song Silver Springs became its own wound, according to Nicks. Nicks wrote it directly about Buckingham, about the feeling that no matter where life took either of them, he would never fully be free of her memory. Being pulled from the record devastated her. Decades later, when the band performed it live, the onstage exchange between Nicks and Buckingham was so charged with real unresolved emotion that viewers who watched the footage described it as almost uncomfortable to witness. That's not performance. That's 2 people with unfinished business standing 6 feet apart. Number 4. The Chain. Every member of the band touched this one, which makes sense because it belongs to all of them. It's the only Fleetwood Mac song from the Rumors era credited to all 5 members, built from separate fragments and emotions stitched together into something unified. The song exposes the tumultuous relationships and bond that kept the band members together. Even though the breakups and infighting occurred during the recording of their 1977 album, Rumors, it still stands as one of the most powerful songs by Fleetwood Mac. It signifies the tension between wanting to sever a relationship and the inescapable, lasting connection between people. The through line is a vow, "Don't break the chain," which reads as both a desperate plea from people in failing relationships and a professional pact between 5 people who chose their band over their broken hearts. It shouldn't work, but for these 5 talented people, it absolutely works. Number 5. Don't Stop. While everyone was celebrating this song during the campaign of Bill Clinton, there was a deeper meaning behind the song not being celebrated. The meaning included Christine McVie writing about the painful divorce she was going through from bassist John McVie, a man she had to see at every single rehearsal, not to mention every recording session and every single show. Rather than writing something angry or mournful, she aimed her energy toward the future, building a song around the idea that tomorrow could still be better than today. It reportedly gave the entire band something to hold on to during the most grueling recording sessions of their lives. Writing optimism as an act of survival. That's a different kind of courage. And that's why Christine is the real gold standard for lyricism. Number 6. Landslide. Despite this song being one that predates Rumors entirely, Nicks wrote it before she and Buckingham had ever joined Fleetwood Mac. Careers were stalled, and their relationship was quietly fracturing under the weight of uncertainty. It's more of a sweeping reflection on her relationship with Buckingham in those earlier, harder years. A portrait of a young woman grappling with who she was becoming and what she was willing to lose in the process. The fact that it still lands like a gut punch 50 years later says everything about how universal that specific kind of quiet heartbreak really is. Landslide would go on later to be covered by numerous artists, like the Dixie Chicks as well as the Smashing Pumpkins. Number 7. Gold Dust Woman. Not only is this the last song on the list we are featuring, but it's also the darkest entry on the list. Yes, it often gets overlooked because people focus on the more obvious breakup anthems. But Nix wrote this one about addiction, identity collapse, and what happens to a person, specifically her, when love and substances and ambition all consume each other at once. The haunting thing about it can be attributed to the instrumentation. What feels more like a warning of a song is the emotional core of a woman watching herself come apart and documenting it in real time. That's not a breakup song in the traditional sense. That's something rawer and more honest than most artists ever dare to put on record. To sum it up, all 7 of these songs were written by people who were actively living inside the pain. At times, we hide what breaks us most, but the band members of Fleetwood Mac were vulnerable for the world to see. That's something you don't see in many bands. What song from the list resonates most with you?